figure out OBS, so this is going to have to do for just a little quick stream. I am streaming EverQuest, or recording it actually, and I'm going to upload it after I get done recording it. Just wasted about 15 minutes of my lesson. It's irritating. So this is my character that I play most of the time. And this is my Necro, whose name is Jumple, because he's a frog Necro. I've never said it out loud like that before. It sounds a little silly, but I find it charming. This is my chill game, man. I just like to kick back and chill and relax after work. And as you can tell, it's a pretty slow game, so there we go. What can I say here? So yeah, anyway, any EQ veterans that are watching that because you're curious or something, or because you were Girl in Real Life or Pounce or part of that connection I have, welcome. And this is live, EverQuest Live, on the Kasich Thule server. And I can never get the desired nickname I like to use, which is Elwood for a character. I can never get that. So what I've chosen, since I play pet classes a lot, is I always name my pet Elwood. So it's just kind of my thing. And okay, number one, I'm not going to talk about politics or religion on this channel at all. Those subjects are too volatile. Not that I don't have my opinions about it, I just don't want drama. This is just for fun, and I just don't want drama, man. So, but with that said, I do want to mention that some might call me religious. I call myself a Christian. Which seems a little ironic. Number one, that I'm playing games like this. Number two, that I would pick a class like a Necro to play. And it's a game. It's just a game. So there's that part. And to make it a little less sort of, I don't know, dark. I think that's why I picked a frog. It's a little more kind of, I don't know, silly. The little halo or thing or the aura he has on him is just from the buff, the Listen to the Devout thing that I do first time when I first log on daily. Sometimes I only do this and then I log off. Sometimes I might do something else after I do what they call a lesson burn. So yeah, it's pretty cool, man. I got him in some leather cosmetic add-ons to his armor, so he doesn't look like he's wearing a dress, which is kind of cool. He's got this little flappy thing there, which is a little irritating to me actually, but the rest of it looks pretty cool. The shield, there's a shield cosmetic AUG for that I got as a prize for one of my little months. There's a monthly thing where they give you a little bit of virtual cash and you can spend it in their shop. And they give you a free amount if you subscribe, and I always subscribe because I don't like to have any walls behind stuff I want to do. So I do that, and I spend it on stupid crap. You know, it comes with the subscription, so it's no big deal. And this is my Merc. I usually like to name my Mercs also, but I haven't quite yet. As a matter of fact, yeah. It's been a while. I've been playing my card game quite a lot, but actually I think I have Station Cash since my lesson's kind of screwed up anyway. Let's just go ahead and go to the cash thing. Right now I just have 26, but I can claim this because it's part of my subscription, all access. I do that. And boom. And here we go. This might be interesting to some. Ooh, Gnome Heritage Crate. Interesting. Prop in the crate contains gnomish themed stuff. Amount. Illusion. Ooh. Teleporter. Uh-oh. See, I normally get this card stuff, but this is kind of cool. I'm going to use this time, see what we get. It's straight up 500 for this, so, you know, it's all good. Got it. Yeah, man. Let's see what we get. If it might be bound to the account, which is kind of irritating. I like to sell stuff like that. Okay, I had to switch to full screen. I normally play in windowed because I can't get OBS to work with this, so I'm using the Xbox recorder just to record it, and then I'm going to upload it. If anybody out there has tips on how to get OBS, I got OBS to work with Hearthstone, but I haven't gotten it to. I just can't get it to work with this in windowed. Windowed, it just looks better in windowed. This is kind of washed out, and then since I play in windowed most, and this is, I usually have all this stuff lined up. In windowed it is, when I go full screen it bumps it up and it's kind of messed up in locations. I like to have a, for EverQuest, believe it or not, this, for anybody who doesn't really play, this is actually pretty clean. This is pretty clean UI as far as where stuff and how much you can see and whatnot, so. Anyway, I gotta open my bags are messed up, so I gotta open them up one at a time. Where's it at? Here's the crate. Here we go. And what? What is this? Oh, it's a teleport. Sanford's Scrapyard. Man, I'm bound there. Ugh. Player flags. You place this in your house, maybe? Placeable. So you can place it in your house. That's something. And I'm a very casual person. I think if this scrapyard place is where I think it is, it's going to take you to where the, I don't know. If I want to bind other places, I like to bind here for when I go here to grind. Okay, fine. I'll claim it. I was really hoping for like a mount or something cosmetic or maybe a Merc thing. I'll claim it instead of. A little disappointing, in my opinion. Better be unlimited charges. If it's just once, it really just made a mistake big time. Recast, okay, yeah, so it's okay. Alright, fine. It's my froggy hat. I'm not sure what to do with this stuff, so I'm just keeping it for now out of those instances. I can solo the instances with my Merc or with my Merc on my Necro here. I have a second account, and I tried boxing a Shaman with my Ranger, which for a long time I really considered my main. But I just don't have time to kind of go through all the stuff you have to do with a Ranger, man. I mean, any kind of melee class, you have to get all really extra equipment to, and a lot of AAs to be really call relevant or whatever. So, and with a pet class or caster, it's a lot less work, and I like that part. As you can see, even though I'm a caster, I'm not on a mount. And it's because the Necro has such great mana regen. You don't really need to be on your mount a lot of times. It depends a little bit on what you're doing. But that part I really dig because I like the reaction of the character. You can move around a lot more specific. There's no float. When you're on a mount, I'll show you in a second after I get done casting this macro. And then I'll get rid of his buff so he dies a little quicker. Alright, I'm going to put my mount on here. And even though I really like this mount, it's really awesome. You're sluggish. You move, when you want to move, it's slower and stuff. It just looks a little weird. But as you can tell, man, it's a really awesome mount, especially for this age of a game. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? In the windowed mode, the colors are much more vibrant and it actually looks better. It's really cool. I really got to get OBS to work on this. So, man, oh man, that's pretty awesome. Anyway, but yeah, I like to. First of all, I like to play in first person, but that's really not it. When you're on a mount, you meditate as you're playing or as you're doing your stuff, and what was I going to say? Oh, you meditate while you're doing your stuff, and you gain mana back faster. And for most casters, that's really preferred. Whether you're a healer or a damage dealer, you're using mana all the time, and you want to be regaining that mana as much as possible. The Necro, with the Necro buffs, mana regen, without being on a mount, just standing up. Let me show you. My combat mana regen is at 599. It's usually at 600. It's kind of weird. It must be because of a gear upgrade I did. But yeah, it's like, that's probably a good 200 points above what most people that are group geared, like I am on a normal server. If you're on a V, you can attain a little bit higher stats and stuff a little bit easier because you can buy stuff from the bazaar. You can buy group gear for just dirt cheap, and then if you save your money, you can just really take it to the new level. Anyway, so with the Necro, I like the Necro versus a Mage a little bit better because you have root is one thing. And it's very easy, not that you can't kill more than one mob on a Mage, but it's just, you feel like you're in more control, sort of like how enchanters are. Enchanters are all about battle control. Well, Necros kind of are too. And unlike enchanters, though, Necros tend to die a lot less. When I die, it's really just because of me, because I didn't react quick enough, or something that I just didn't do, or maybe I just wasn't paying attention, whatever. There's really no excuse to almost really ever die with the Necro. Because of you can feign death, which is when you pretend to be dead and the mobs think you're dead and they ignore you. And in this game, it drops aggro. And I'll do it right now. I'll pull, and they're coming. They're coming. Oop. Oh no! Oh look, he must have died. I don't know what to do now. Oh, I'll just stand here and What's this? And that's pretty much it. Now I just have the one mob that's almost dead, and I've started attacking this mob, and the mob behind me that originally was mad at me is not mad at me. He's like, well, I'm just going to stand here for a while. Back here, he's just standing there instead of going back to his spawn spot because he is snared. He thinks he's moving, but he's really not. It's a game mechanic that I'm not sure if it was originally intended, but has become part of how classes play now so much over the years that it's just become part of how they balance the game. And as you can tell, my Necropet's a lot tougher than what people think they are, I think. At least people that don't play Necros, they think the pets are, super brittle, maybe like shaman dogs or something, I don't know. But you can easily kill, oh, I guess he can easily kill 2 mobs at a time. A lot of times if I'm rolling in a good rhythm, I'll have 3 going at the same time very easily. And so this is kind of the system I go. I put my pet on a mob, I load it up with some dots and some swarm pets, and I try to trigger my little temporary buff that you do with this nuke that helps long dots do more damage. So here's another guy right here. By the time I'm done with my rotation, my snare is refreshed, and the refresh is like 20 seconds on this AA snare, which is unbreakable, seemingly. And it's like, it lasts for what? It's like, it starts off at like 3 minutes or something. Just plenty of time to, even with dots, to get a mob to die, even if you don't have your pet on it. If I wanted to, I just like using my pet, but some Necros, they don't really use their pet at all unless it's an emergency or they're in a raid or some kind of different things, but I like the pets, so I use them. Have some guys go over this way. I like to use a combination of very short dots, are called swift dots, and I use a combination of those along with extremely long dots that last like a minute and a half. They're the most efficient dots, and overall they do the most damage if they go to their full duration. I'm sorry, it's the morning. I'm just not completely with it, and I don't want to eat or drink on stream. I could probably stand with doing a little coffee, I guess. It's not going to hurt anything. Occasionally a macro will, I'll have a fizzle on a macro and I have to manually click it. That's another thing too. I'm not a big clicker. I like to use macros, even though I'm just playing one character. Now here we go. This mob is really, really mad at me. Okay, I've got him about half dead almost, and he's going to be mad at me. I'm going to stick my pet, and when the pet is meleeing, that's going to break. He's going to come after me. All I have to do is FD, come back up, and now boom, good to go. No problem. Put some pets on him, do that. I got my combat pet on him. I got that going, and now I just go get another one. And roots, I don't even check hardly ever if the root is up, because it's just always up. I never mem the root spell or anything like that at all. I like putting these super long dots on because they're very mana efficient, and you can just kind of set it and forget it. After they finish their duration, they trigger a secondary dot that is a little shorter but super powerful. And this guy right here, he probably just died just from these super long dots if I just left it alone and just left it go for like the 2 minutes or so. It takes a little over 2 minutes for it to finish its entire run. But you know, I'm just speeding it up a tad. The pets here. Go here, get him. Sometimes if I get stunned, it could be problematic, and I have to get healed. Uh-oh. See, luckily my pet is tanky enough that it can do its thing. The little scrub is down to 10%, as you can see in this window over here. Now 9%, he's just going to die. I don't need to have anything on him. He's going to die. It's no big deal. And I just have him concentrating on the ad I had. And just go to town. As you can see, the Merc is doing okay with man, even though I have him on reactive, just in case I run into a named. Most of the time, I don't need to have them on reactive. But if I think names are possible, I just leave them on reactive because I'll forget to switch, and then the pet will die, and I'll have to FD, and I'll have to get new pet gear, and it's just a pain. Loading this guy up over here. The secondary, the other guy is already dead almost, so my pet is fully AA'd, so that helps with the let's see if he's super mad at me, or have to FD. Pet's getting aggro pretty good. Yep, he's good. So I'll get this other one over here. I played a mage for a while as an alt, and that was really cool. You could make your own pet gear and all that stuff, but you're very squishy, and there's no root. You have to use swarm pets for a root-like effect, which is a little less controllable. I got the same awesome mana regen. Look at this. I've been casting non-stop for I don't know how many mobs. I'm only down to 72% on mana. It just went up again. So there's that. I'm just doing this till I see another mob pop up. Generally, when I do this for just to grind at this location, at this fort, I do the 2 mobs here. There's 2 roamers that come up, and then there's 4 mobs back here that spawn, and I just do those mobs. Occasionally a name will pop in that area there, and I'll take care of that. I'll do one more series of swift dots just to speed it up here, and then I'll pull that 3rd one back here, even though everybody's not dead yet. Well, now he is. Oops. Does have him doing stuff on him, and let the other one die. Once I load this guy up with stuff for my rotation, I'll pull another one if another one pops. This guy over here, he's dead. He just doesn't know it yet. The weapons I use in my pet are the rage swords. I just use 2 aggro swords on that pet, largely because he has a life tap proc just from the type of pet he is. He's got that. And He's got a life tap proc. Plus, I have a buff that I can put another life tap proc on him that's a lot stronger. As a matter of fact, it's the strongest proc that weapons can have on them. I'll link it here. Let me just put him on there now. So I'm not going full bore really. I'm just, oops. Yeah, take him. That's the death shield. Shield of, where's that proc at? Oh, it's this right here. There we go. Infuse ally. Gives the minion the ability to deal 3,943 point life taps via its melee attacks. I think the current highest proc from a weapon, a mage weapon, is like 3,500. So you have this on top of what the natural proc that the Necropet does on top already anyway. So because I got those two things going all the time, plus what the extra little procs you get from Fortify Companion buffs and stuff like that, he's procking all over the place. Not quite as much as a mage pet, but plenty enough. So I give him the Rage Swords, which adds extra aggro, so he gets aggro quicker when I need him to, just like that will kind of happen just there. The dots that you do a lot of damage. Ooh, by the way, here's the buff. Chaotic Power from this nuke I do occasionally adds it adds what is it? Base damage. Have to last at least 24 seconds to deal 100 damage every since by. Well, it's more than that. These descriptions aren't always accurate. Basically, it adds about 25% more damage to another thing, the snare AA that I have is instant. Let me go over I'm going to go over my all this right down here is all the keys on the keyboard for all the macros. Some of them are spam. I call a spam key as a key that you have to hit repeatedly over and over to cast something. I call a macro, it's just my terminology. My macros are ones that you hit the button once and then it casts a series of abilities or spells one after another without having to interact with it anymore. It takes several seconds to do, like right now. Oh, there's a ranger dude looking for experience. I'm kind of in the middle of something. Sorry, dude. Anyway, so number 4 and 5 are my dot macros. Those cast 3 different dots. And right here, what I just did, the swarm pets, it's a spam key. I hit it once, and it casts number 9. Then I hit it again, and it casts number 13. And if I cast it again, it'll cast number 8. And the reason it works as a spam key is because there are refresh times on these spells. You can't spam the spell over and over again, over and over, right after another. There's a cooling period, a downtime period, whatever for the spell. Because, like, look, I did the pet one, and see, I can't do it again. So that it's going to cast the next thing in line, which is this. Now this is down for a little bit. If I do it right away, it'll cast the rune buff that Necros have for their pets. I have that on my swim, and then these other two are A's that are swarm pets, Rise of Bones and Swarm of Decay. I don't like the one that depends on dead mobs, because you get a bunch. It looks cool. It's neat to kind of do once in a while for kicks, but I get confused what's a pet for me and what's an actual mob, and sometimes I'll get ads that I don't mean. that I don't recognize right away because it's because they look like mobs, but they're actually one of my swarm pets that I've created with that AA, and it's just, it just creates confusion. I don't like it. So what I usually do is I do number 5, which is my long dots, so that if I want to start another mob, I can just throw these on there and kind of forget it really, especially if I have my pet on there. I don't have to do anything else. My pet and these long dots, boom, that mob's going to die. Guaranteed it will die. If I'm not interested in, you know, if I just happen to want him to die a little quicker, then I'll add the short dots, the swift dots. Right? These 2 dot macros, they're set up with the pauses the same. Cast a spell, pauses for 45, which is 4.5 seconds. Then the next one pauses for another 4.5 seconds, then cast another one. These other 2 macros right here, the pet attack. I got pet attack. I got, oops, another guy coming. I'll just stick him on him. Let me go ahead and the pet attack. Okay, so it's got pet attack, Q swarm, which if you have swarm pets that aren't doing anything in a battle, this will make them go to that one. And if you move your main pet, your combat pet, to a different mob, and you hit this for the pet attack, when the first mob is dead, if there's swarm pets still left alive, they're queued up to go to the next mob that your combat pet went to. So they're just kind of following wherever your combat pet goes with every mob you tell it to attack. So that's very convenient. Then I have some other AAs. This right here is, I believe it is Frenzy the Dead, which is the DPS pet buff thing. Then this one here is Fortify Companion, which is a defensive pet buff. It also has an extra proc, I think. A rune, you know, funky stuff like that. So whenever I send my pet to attack, all this stuff, it's not a spam key necessarily, because all of these, they do have refreshes, but they're instantaneous. These commands are instantaneous, so it'll execute this, then it'll do this just with one button press, okay? And then that's it, okay? The cast, and it'll skip it. It'll do this, then it'll do this if it's up. If it's not up, you don't need to, because these are buffs, right? And you know, not so if this is up, it'll cast. If not, it'll cast this. If not, now this right here this is instantaneous. This one here, this one takes as a cast time. So when this one casts, it will not cast 7. It's not that big a deal, because that is the number 7 is this infuse ally thing. It's a quick cast. It lasts 3 minutes, and with the extra A augments on it. See, it's over 3 minutes, and I haven't cast it in quite a while. I think it's like 6 minutes or something. It's extended to, maybe more. I think it's a little more actually. So that stays out. So I don't have to cast it every time. So when these get in the way once in a great while, it's no big deal. That buff will stand. And the snare, I got my AA snare, which is instantaneous. I could run around and cast it over and over again on all kinds of stuff. Don't have to stop running. It's, you know, it's awesome. Although it's shorter than the Druids and the Rangers snare, those still technically have cast times. I don't think those ever get to be instantaneous, so you still have to pause briefly just to snare a mob. Necros, and I think probably Shadow Knights, you can just run around and just snare. The second one is it's like the Dispel Magic AA for a lot of classes get, which it automatically dispels on the mob any beneficial buffs that they have. different classes have a certain number of debuffs they can debuff at one time with it, and there's a percentage, it has a chance to fail on some of them, but this, it always debuffs at least 2 or 3 buffs on a mob. And this only has a 5-second refresh rate. And then I have Merc Assist on here too, just in case I happen to have like a DPS Merc or something like that. This will, when I hit this, when I'm snaring something, it'll tell the Merc to start doing its thing. That is a little dangerous. I think I had it on here because I was using the melee DPS, the Merc sometimes instead of the caster. When you use this, even that is not very smart because you have to pull. So I put this in for a very specific reason. I should probably take it off sometime, but I pretty rarely. I mean, what I could do, I'll just give an example of it right now. Let me just refresh the cleric buffs on me and the pet before I switch pets. I have all the 4 different types of mercs that you can have. I'm sorry, I said pets, but I meant mercs that you can have. I have a melee DPS, spell DPS, and I have a tank, I think. Oh, no, I don't. No, I do. Yeah, the lizard guy's a tank. My pet tank's better than him anyway. It doesn't matter. I don't know. I just have it just to have a variety. This is across all characters. And I think maybe even accounts too. No, probably not accounts. It's across all but servers. If I go to a different server, I'll have 4 Merc slots because I bought that. If you get any extra service from Daybreak, that is probably the most useful. If you spend any extra money in the game at all, that right there would be the first thing I would get. Alright, so there's that. I'm going to switch to let's get this one out here. See, I named this pet Clem. He's my spellcaster. Okay. Merc. Got him on balance so he doesn't pull aggro, or aggro is taken off him pretty easily. And I always make sure the call assist is off auto assist. So yeah. So with this, because these mobs are, as long as I have one, when I do it like this, I don't. I make sure I keep the rune up on the pet. As you can see, my pet's not taking much damage just from one mob anyway. I don't, when I kill this, I do it for one mob at a time. And they have to be, I don't like to chance it too much. So they have to be right there. So he's going to die. Pull him. And the pet rune that Necros get, it's got 3 layers to it, and when each rune goes away, it heals the pet also. So with the Merc having being unbalanced, it's just easier. It adds a little more DPS, and each nuke they nuke for like somebody's calling a camp check. Now, if things go wrong, I can FD, and I can even feign death my pet. Right here, pet feign. This only has a 75% success rate though, so that's like a last ditch, like super wrong. I just want to try to save the pet so I don't have to re-equip it. As you can tell, even though the Merc Assist is on that attack, is on that snare thing, it takes a while for the Merc to start doing its thing. If it gets aggro and I can't get off of it, I got plenty of warning when that's happening to just go ahead. And the biggest problem is pulling. I've got to root ads. And all this time I've not been paying attention to my mana hardly at all. I just looked over and noticed, and it's still like 76%. It's just insane. Because I don't like clicking, this is what I did. So I think the reason I put Merc Assist on here is because there's really no room on these other. I could layer them. There's a way to do the macros so that you have two things on the same line. I got pet feign here. I'll take that off. And actions. I'm just going to make a separate Merc Assist button. If I don't already have one. No. So you drag that over there and open this. Oop. Oop. I like to have all capital letters for the titles of these. Put in the command. And there's another button I could add extra stuff to. I want to take Merc Assist off here. This way I can pull and not have mercs start doing stuff and getting in the way of pulling a single mob. So as you can see, my pet's getting hit a little bit here, but that's because the rune probably went down on it. Well, as you can see now, he's back up to 100%. At least they're light blues. These greenhorns are light blues, so it's no big deal. Hit Merc Assist to make sure he's going to engage. That's another thing, these spam buttons are unaffected by I'm losing some buffs. I got to do some self buffs. And I generally understand that a lot of Necros like me are a little lazy in combat. This is exactly why I like this character, because I guess I am lazy a little. Anyway, I'm going to rebuff the pet, make sure the illusion sticks or stays on there. These right here, is a command you can set for your spell book. If you have combat spell line saved up by doing this stuff here, you can set up a macro button to just mem combat. Instead of having to right click and do the mess with things, you can hit that, pet spells. Really, I have everything. I have all my buffs that I need in my combat line anyway. This is another nice thing I like about Necros. Anyway, so I just hit my buff macro. And it goes down the line. This is an example of one that's very full. Oops, I think I screwed up the macro by trying to open it while it was doing its thing. So I'll do it again. Cast this one. And it's going to cast this one. And then it's going to cast the pet haste buff. It's the third line. Now it's doing this right here, which is an AA. Or no, it's an AA. And then it's doing this AA unity buff, which is maxed out for me. That does a bunch of other stuff like that. So I don't like to have the venom thing on, so I just click that off. And so there. You're good. I don't like that illusion either, so I click it off. It's like I'm a frog. I picked to be a frog. If I wanted to look like a zombie, then fine, but I like frogs, so I am a frog. Yeah. Yeah, when there's a this is a dark blue, and these dark blues are actually pretty notorious for hitting pretty doggone hard and being tough. But as you can tell, even without a healer, and I don't have any pet heal spells memmed or anything either. There's a lot of passive AAs that help with heals up a little bit too. Occasionally when I cast a dot, I have an AoE heal that heals like something. I forget. You'll see it. It's like blue sparkly. There it is right there. I just healed my pet, my merc, and myself just from casting a dot on a mob. It goes off about, I think goes off 25, has a 25% likelihood of that AoE heal to go off. It's a pretty substantial one. It's modified by the that's our that's our that's our guild master. He's got so many alts. So many alts. Most of them have Tex in the name. I think he's from Texas, but this one doesn't. This is like a troll Shadow Knight. And they're pretty hideous, and that's sort of a play on words. So he calls it Love Machine. He uses Love Machine. It's kind of funny. So FD, boom. I have two different FDs. Again, that's a spam situation going on. My guild doesn't use Discord. It uses what's it use? Oh, what's what's it called? Oh, yeah, it's that Skype. I don't use Skype. So they use it so much, though. I've promised them that I would download it and start using it at some point, and I haven't quite done it yet. So that's kind of, probably should. Oop! Thank goodness I had temp pets still up. See, I'm stunned. This is the Achilles heel of all Necros and Shadow Knights. Mobs that stun gets in the way of us doing our FD tricks and stuff. Like right now, I got 2. I'm going to choose to FD because I just don't want the hassle on my healer merc up or anything. So the aggro range on these big guys, the behemoths, are a lot larger than the other mobs. So if I was to pull him, he'd probably come too. So I'm just going to be impatient and waiting a little bit. He doesn't have a snare on or anything. The other guy behind him does, but the big guy doesn't. So he'll walk off eventually. I'm streaming now anyway, so it doesn't matter. So he's still on my aggro list here on the bottom right, as you can tell. He's got to go back to his normal pathing. Pretty soon he'll pop off there. That'll be okay for me to mess around with the Peacekeeper. The mana regen when I'm FD'd is really low, but it's still something. Oh, I guess it's this. I don't know. I've noticed it is reduced. It doesn't go up near as fast as when I'm standing. He just does not like me, does he? Okay, that's good. Crap. I can pull him now. As you can tell, it's a trivial thing to deal with multiple mobs. You really have very little chance to die just from the FD system alone. But say for, oops, forgot to do the Mercus. This is why I like to hide or include certain trivial commands like Merc Assist to other buttons if I can, because I always forget to have them start going. And if you leave them on auto assist, that's even more problematic than if you have the Merc Assist added into the wrong macro. It's just not a cool thing to do. Nah, I didn't need to do that. I'm distracted. He's dead. So I'm stuck in the. I can't stop this. There's probably a stop macro command somewhere. I don't know it. I just kind of run around until the macro's done going. I only have one really long macro, and that's for the buffs, and that's for during downtime anyway. So give him his rune, so he'll live through the fight very easily. Got 10 pets on him. I think I'm about done here. I've been streaming for almost an hour already. I want to play my card game. So this is EverQuest. This is my little froggy dude. I know a girl in real life in Pounds. They like their frogs. Incidentally, my guild master, we got this ongoing little joke thing that I don't know if it's real or if he just kind of pretends just to role play a little bit, but he's always saying how he hates frogs, right? So a lot of us in the guild, we have some people made frog character alts just to, mess with the guild leader. Just because it's fun. This is a very casual guild. We don't raid or anything. We group together once in a while. We just kind of tell jokes and chat and just chill. It's pretty cool. And we don't have a lot of sensitive people per se in the guild. you know, it's pretty hard for feelings to get hurt. We have one guy that plays a character, and he can be a little abrasive, but overall, oop, somebody's here. And this could be my last mob, and I'm just gonna let this guy take the camp. Yeah, sounds like my luck. He was trying to took him a long time. Evidently, there's been some fables going on lately in game. So oop, I put my yeah. There's a streamer uh, from that plays on my server. Uh, he plays I think he's a Hobbit Ranger. This is his main. He called him. It's a really long name. And it's so long that there's one letter short. I think it's supposed to be Short Man on Campus, but it's Short Man on Campu. But yeah, so he just streams for fun, like me. I think I've actually checked out his stream a couple of times. It's all right. Oops, this guy's gotten lucky. Woohoo! All right. I'm going to go back in my comfortable first person mode and switch this back to windowed. I don't know if it's going to cut the recording automatically or not. I think I'll just stop the recording before that. Anyway, so this was a test run that is just to get an EQ video on my channel, and hopefully I can get OBS to work so I can have so it'll look a little more normal instead of dated and washed out like the game looks like in full windowed mode now. And so there we go, right? Another shout out to Golden Real Life, Pounce, Golden Real Life's, I think, friend or husband or something, I don't know, Steps. I don't know the social interactions going on there, and that's fine. So, yeah, nice meeting you all, and thanks for helping me out and the encouragement you guys have shown me on Twitch so far. And I share this channel with my son. Again, it's just for fun. I'm really trying to tell myself that because I tend to be obsessive, and I don't want to waste too much time on something like this when I can't really devote. I got a job and family, and I got other stuff going on, so I just don't have time to do this really full bore like you guys do, which is great. You guys provide a really good service, especially for this game, which is a living museum, and hopefully more people will start streaming live EQ to help that out. So anyway, have a good one, and I'll see you later.